Dave Pompkin, Joe DeSantis, Ryan Peters back with you on NEC Men's Basketball Virtual Media Day. We're being joined by the Sacred Heart Pioneers. Last year, they were picked 10th, overachieved, and finished third in the league. This year, picked in the middle of the pack, and they have everybody back, 5 starters, 15 letter winners back on this year's team. And head coach Anthony Latina joins us along with Tyler Thomas, a junior guard, one of the best players in the league. And coach, we'll start with you. It's got to be quite a luxury to have this many guys that know what they're doing back in practice.
Well, there's certainly a comfort level when you have guys that have been in certain situations with experience. We have a very experienced backcourt, played a lot of minutes, not only in years, but in minutes. But even our sophomores played a ton last year. So we have a lot of proven guys, but you got to perform still. So, we're not taking anything for granted, but we're very excited about the guys we have coming back and how much they've improved in the offseason.
How about Aaron Clark? Is that a guy that's improved for you? He already had a pretty solid season last year, over 13 points per game. You look at him sometimes, you're like, is this guy a player? But he's definitely a player.
Yeah, Aaron, when Aaron was good, he was very good. He was a little inconsistent, which he'll be the first one to tell you that. He really worked hard in the offseason. He's trimmed down. He's probably in the best shape of his life. He had a very good summer for us, and he's off to a good start. So when he's very good, we were very difficult to beat. And he knows that. So he's a big key for us. He's really worked hard in the offseason. I think the pandemic really hurt him. He probably didn't have as good an offseason as he could have. So we're hoping that we get a more consistent version of him. And if we do, I think we're going to be a very difficult team to beat.
Anthony, you talked about Aaron Clark, and we know certainly what Tyler can do, and we'll talk to him in a minute. But the third guy in your backcourt has been somewhat a surprise for me, Alex Watson. Here's a guy who, I'm not going to speak for you, but didn't look like, you had much plans for him as like a starter and stuff, but he's really been like a stabilizing guy, and his experience really helps you. So talk about him, and also the rest of you, like Joey Riley. I'm really intrigued with, transferred from Holy Cross, local kid. So talk about your depth at the guard, but more so Alex Watson.
Well, Alex is a great story. Like you said, he didn't play much his first 3 years. A couple things with Alex. One, he was super young. He was 17 his first year in college. So he was really young. He had an injury, kind of set him back as a freshman. And then that following year, we brought in some really good sophomore guards that he was playing behind. So a part of it was he got caught in a little bit of a numbers game. When you're the ninth man in an 8-man rotation, sometimes you feel like the 13th man. But the one thing that Alex did a great job of is he just kept working. He stayed positive. He persevered. He wasn't always happy, but he really worked hard to be a good team guy. And so I really, I'm so happy for him. And he's someone that I really think that our players should look to. Like, we live in a world where everyone expects instant gratification and instant success. And he did not have that for his first 3 years. But like you said, he probably was as valuable to our program last year as anyone. He is our best defensive player. He has a tremendous basketball IQ. He can play any position on the court. He has great leadership qualities, and he was a really important stabilizing factor for us, especially, you have 2 dynamic guards like Aaron and Tyler, and he's a perfect complement to those guys. So he is a big key for our team. He's an underrated athlete as well, and he can make threes. So he's important. And then obviously, Joey Riley coming in, he can really make shots. He's a high IQ guy too, tough kid, can really spell Alex and Aaron. And then, of course, we don't want to forget about Mike Sixsmith, who's one of the most efficient players in the country last year. So we certainly have a lot in the backcourt. We have some other young guys that will fight for some minutes too, but certainly those 5 are proven guys with experience. And generally speaking, through the years, when you have really good guard play, you have a chance to have a really good season. So we're really comfortable with our guards. We think they all bring us something a little different to the table. And we can kind of plug them in different ways, on and off the ball. Guys like Aaron can play on or off the ball. Alex, Joey Riley can play on or off the ball. So that gives us a little flexibility and versatility too. So I'll put our guards up against anybody in the league. I have a lot of confidence in them. I wouldn't trade them for anyone in the league, and I expect them to have a very good year, all five of those guys.
Hey, Anthony, you mentioned Mike Sixsmith. I mean, let me just read these. I know you know him, but for our viewers here, 8 points a game, 26 minutes a game as a freshman, 57% from the field. That just doesn't happen anymore, especially from a guard. 54 from three, 91 from the free throw line, 42 assists, 20 turnovers, and led your team in steals. Did you know he was going to be this good? And what type of school recruited him? Did you steal him from like a higher level school?
Well, interesting you say that. Not really. We were his only Division I offer. I mean, he was,
wow.
Well, I should say that Bryant was flirting with him a little bit, but then kind of backed off. Really, it was us in Adelphi. And I mean, boy, if that guy went to Adelphi, he'd scored 2,500, 2,700 points. But he's extremely.
If he went to Adelphi, he wouldn't be at Adelphi right now. He'd be somewhere.
So he obviously when you go 50, 50, 90, I mean, 50, 40, 90 is like the ultimate standard. The guy he almost went 60, 50, 90, 60 right from the field, 50 from over 50 from three and over 90 from the line with a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. He is, I believe, in KenPom, the second most efficient player in the country. He's the second best 3-point shooter in the country. He has a real high basketball IQ. He's similar to Alex too. When you put him with Aaron and Tyler, he's just takes what the defense gives him. He doesn't force things. He's just, sometimes we say we want you to shoot more, but other times I don't want to mess with him. Like, just do what you do. We let the other guys take the difficult shots. You take the simple ones and make a high percentage of them. He's obviously a weapon. We're hoping that he can continue what he did. I mean, to expect him to go 50, 50, and 90 again might be asking a little too much, but I think his points per game could go up a little bit. His efficiency might go down, but hopefully his points go up a little bit and he can be a major weapon for us like he was last year.
The guy who led the NEC in scoring last year is with us. It's Tyler Thomas, and Coach sounds pretty jacked up about this year's team. What about you? How far can this team go?
I think we have all the pieces to take it all the way, win a championship. It's just if we put all the pieces together this year.
What did you do in the offseason to get better? What are you trying to improve on?
Honestly, it was a lot of lifting and getting my body in shape. Last year, I wasn't as in shape as I could have been. And that's due to the pandemic or due to me not getting out enough. But this year was a big emphasis of lifting weights, running, agility work, and basically try to make my body the best it can be for this season.
Tyler, most improved player last year. Congratulations. Coming back this year. Are your goals a little different now with experience? Or is coach asking you, do you want to become more of a leader?
My goal for this year is definitely be more of a vocal leader, and it takes practice like every day. And they constantly tell me to talk and be more vocal on the court. So that would be one of my main things. I think it would help this team since we're still kind of young. If I could be more vocal and a leader, we can definitely take it as far as we can take it.
Anthony, your team was really solid last year. I think no one expected a third-place finish. I look at all the categories of significance. You were kind of in the middle of the pack on most of those categories. Now you have the continuity, 11 scholarship guys back. You literally have 16 players who are worthy of a scholarship on your team. So you have a wealth of depth. What's the identity of this team?
Well, that's a good question. Hopefully we can really shoot the ball. We can put 4, sometimes 5 guys on the court that can make threes. I think we have an extremely unselfish team. So I think you'll see a team that will share the ball, guys that will give up good shots for great shots. So I think our offensive identity will be what it's been, a team that makes a high percentage of threes, hopefully a high assist team, and a team that can score. The one area where I think we need to make the next step is become a better defensive team, become a hungrier defensive team. I think if we can somehow find a way to get in the top 3 or 4 in the defensive categories, I think we're going to be a very difficult team to beat because we do have guys that can put the ball in the basket. I mean, obviously Tyler's the leading scorer in the league. In my opinion, he's the best player in the league. I would not trade him for anybody in the league because he does a lot of things. He rebounds the ball. This summer, he really did a good job of looking for his teammates with assists. So, when you have a guy who's a special player like him and And we've had some special players before. And I think I've told you this when we were talking for Blue Ribbon. I think he may end up being the best player we've ever had. And that's saying a lot because we had some real good ones. But he knows what he has to do. He's worked very hard on changing his body to being the best it can be, which he just, stated, and becoming a little more efficient, which he's really showing in practice. So I think that our offensive identity is always going to be a team that shares the ball, makes a lot of threes, plays the right way, like what we perceive to be the right way. But defensively, we have to get grittier. We have to get tougher. We have to get guys to buy into being a top 14 defensively. If we can do that, I think we will have a very good chance to be one of the last teams standing.
And Tyler, you were the most improved player, led the league in scoring. We already mentioned that. But I feel like there's still room for growth in your game. Coach Latina, he always tells me how many shots you make in practice. Last year, he shot 33% from deep. How do you translate that practice, those high three-point percentages in practice? How does that translate to game time now?
I think it's a matter of believing myself, because sometimes if I don't see the first one go down, I hesitate on the second one. And that kind of is true even in practice, but more so in games, I really think about it. So this year I'm trying to let all the shots just come to me and have the game come to me a little bit more.
You had to be a volume scorer for this team, and you did a great job in that role. You shot it over 15 times last year per game. Given the added experience, you have guys like Bryce Johnson, Mike Sixsmith, maybe they're going to take more shots and kind of take some of that scoring burden off you. Is that something you're welcoming, maybe being a little more efficient but taking fewer shots per game?
I don't mind. I'm only trying to win a championship, and if that means my points stay the same and don't go up, or my points go down, if we win a championship, I generally don't care about any of the self accolades, because the team accolades is what matters.
All right, guys, great stuff. We wish you a good season. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the Sacred Heart Pioneers. Coming up next, St. Francis, Brooklyn, on our NEC Virtual Media Day here on ESPN3 and NEC Front Row.